So women always talk about what men should bring to the table. Now let's talk about what women should bring to the table.
Yeah, so we have a list here because women always talk about what men should bring to the table, and as we all know, like women have really high expectations nowadays: height, salary, looks, status. Like it could get really complex depending on the woman, right? You'll notice as we go through these, I think most guys will agree with this list. Our list is very basic and very simple, right? It's
Absolutely.
a lot easier to keep a man happy than it is to keep a woman happy. So for once, let's go over what women should bring to the table. You want to start the list off?
Absolutely. The first one is attractiveness. Attractiveness in what way? We're not just talking about looks here. We're also talking about the mindset she has, her personality, how she treats others. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, as we hear at times. So everybody looks at beauty different. So one woman is going to be beautiful to one guy, while that same woman may not be beautiful to another guy. So for every person, that's going to be different. They're going to see beauty differently. For every man is going to see beauty differently. But attractiveness is definitely at the top of the list there.
Yeah, and I think the reason that this is number one on the list isn't even because it's the most important trait. I think the reason it's number one is because initially that is the first thing a man is going to notice is how you look, right? So we're not saying you have to be a model, right? But I think what men generally look for is a woman that looks healthy, right? Clean, doesn't smoke, isn't like, clearly like a drug user. Like you have to look like a healthy, feminine woman, right? Dress nice. I think it's always a plus when a woman smells good, her hair looks good, you're well kept. That's what we mean by attractive, right? We're not saying you have to be a size 0, right? And have like the figure of like a bikini model or something like that, because that would be unrealistic. I think guys are perfectly fine with a woman that's average weight, right? Women sometimes, I think they're a little bit too obsessed with weight. I hear a lot of women now, they're like going on a Ozempic and they're doing all these like extreme things to lose weight. It's not so much about the weight. I think it's perfectly fine to be an average weight as long as you look healthy and you're not overweight, right?
And these are simple things for women to do. It's things that women can do naturally in their daily life routine that will show that attractiveness to a man. If they let themselves go, that's something that a guy is going to see and be like, this may not be the woman for me. If there's a woman out there that you can see has kind of a nasty attitude, men don't want to deal with nasty. And that's something that's a turnoff. That's not attractive. So it's not just towards him because she may be so wonderful to him just to kind of create something, if she likes the guy. But at the end of the day, if you see her treating others a certain way, and you're like, it's kind of weird. It's not really nice. She's rude at times, disrespectful. It's someone that is not going to be attractive, and it's someone that you're not going to be really.
Oh yeah, 100%. We're starting to list off talking about like physical attractiveness, but like some of the other things on this list affect how attractive you are. Like there's plenty of women that look really good, and the moment they open their mouth, you're like, oh, you know what? Never mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let's move on to number 2.
Number 2, and this could easily be at the top of the list, but respect. Respect is key. If you don't have the respect from your woman, as a man, you've got nothing, unfortunately. What does that consist of? That consists of her supporting him in his endeavors and what he wants to do and his goals in life. Her appreciating him. Guy's going to go out in the world. He's going to deal with things that he didn't expect to deal with. He wants to come home and feel appreciated. He wants someone to be grateful of him. So that's something also that makes life easier, and respect is making life easier for your guy, letting him lead. And I would say, which falls in another part of the list, but definitely men like sex. So, if a woman can provide that, obviously, it doesn't have to be at the snap of a finger, but if a woman can mix that in, that's going to make him feel respect.
100%. And just like I said a moment ago, what's extremely common? women that look really good, but they've gotten a little bit too comfortable with mouthing off. They act in a disrespectful manner. A couple things I have written down here, right? Mouthing off to you, getting loud. I've seen couples where the woman publicly humiliates the guy, insulting your friends or your family. Like, these are all disrespectful things to do, and like, a woman shouldn't do that. You should really keep that to a minimum, or to just don't do it at all.
Yeah, I mean, going back to attractiveness, respect, attractiveness is in there mixed together, in that men don't want a woman, as we mentioned before, to be nasty. Nobody wants to deal with someone who's nasty, who's rude, who, if you go out in public, she embarrasses you. They don't want to deal with that. If a man's going to deal with that with you, he's going to try to find some other woman that's not going to treat him that way. So I would say use your intelligence as a woman. Make sure that you're going out there and you're acting as a normal human being to your guy, because that's what he wants. Just act normal. Don't be disrespectful. And don't be nasty. I use that word nasty, and I put emphasis in nasty because a lot of women are unfortunately nasty, and we don't want to deal with that as guys. So, and it's about guys in general. There's sometimes people in the comments in our shorts and our videos, our clips, they like to say, "Oh, you guys think this way. You guys." No, it's many guys out there that feel the same way. We just don't want to deal with nasty women. If we're dealing with nasty women, we don't want to be around you. It's as simple as that. We rather be, as men, on our own. Men rather be by themselves than with a woman being nasty to them and rude to them. And not
100%. There's a time and place to speak your mind, but you should really refrain from repetitive disrespect, because you're going to poison the relationship. Let's move on to number 3.
I think that's key, and we were talking about it a second ago in the respect part of the what women should bring to the table, and that's affection. Guys want to come home and be affectionate, be intimate, be even romantic. You know, women like to say guys aren't romantic. Let them be romantic. How? Let them touch you. Let them kiss you. Do it back. Have sex with them. A strong, intimate relationship, meaning kissing, touching, sexual, even talking, right? Even foreplay. That's all intertwined in a strong, affectionate relationship. And guys want that.
Yeah, and I think this is one of those male needs that guys are maybe uncomfortable talking about because they don't want to seem soft or they don't want to seem like emotional, but it's an absolute necessary need for guys. I mean, that's why you date a woman to begin with, right? Affection is a huge part of it, and I think it like affects us psychologically too. Like if affection isn't there, and this is true on both the male and female side, I'm sure females will agree with this too. If the affection isn't there, it's you know, after a matter of time, you're going to start to kind of get frustrated with the relationship, and that's where problems will start. So I think this is an important one to keep in mind.
Definitely. And the thing is that because, to add on to that, because women don't show as much affection, guys just distance themselves away from the relationship and they look for affection somewhere else.
Bingo.
Why do women find that their guy cheated? Bingo. It's
Very
because
true.
they weren't affectionate enough.
Very true. And what tends to happen in long-term relationships, right? Marriages, 10 years into it, you know, the man and woman get bored of each other. The affection goes down the hole. Sex goes down the hole. And after some time, you will start to get not only bored of each other, you'll start to resent each other because of it. Okay. And that in itself can cause arguments and disrespect. And that could cause a whole rabbit hole of problems in itself. So
that's why it's all intertwined together. That's why, ladies, we're going to continue here, but right now, we're giving you the sauce, the salsa, as we like to say in Spanish, of how to keep and create a relationship, how to keep a relationship going strong, and what to bring to the table, which leads us to number 4. And that's going to be trust and honesty. Trust is key, but that comes from being honest. If she's too jealous, if she's just kind of keeping an eye a little too much on things and not trusting you, you know, honesty creates the trust you have for each other. If you don't have that, if you don't have trust, just like respect, you don't have anything.
I think I speak on behalf of like every guy, normally I'll say most guys, but I think every guy, no guy wants to date a woman that he cannot trust. And you know, sometimes it's especially early on, you have to feel that out. And women will often shame guys because when you're building trust, women will sometimes say, "Oh, my boyfriend's jealous, my boyfriend's insecure." No, you know what I mean? Like you have. I think it's partially the woman's responsibility because number one, trust is something you have to build through time. You don't just trust somebody out the gate. You have to build that, right? So I think it's like both the man and woman's responsibility to kind of do that together. You have to build that trust. If he doesn't trust you, it's going to cause a lot of issues down the line.
Trust is earned; it's not given. So, as you mentioned, you don't automatically try to get a relationship kicked off and then you all of a sudden trust her. You know, you actually figure that out before you get into a relationship, because when you get into a relationship, that means that you trust this person, this woman, as your backbone. You trust her as a support system to you. If you can't trust her, there's no point in even starting out a relationship. You're going to start out a relationship to eventually see if she trusts you. It doesn't make sense. The foundation is trust and honesty and respect. That's very important. And ladies have to understand that if they want a relationship, they wonder why guys are single. Well, these are some of the reasons why.
And what are some ways that women kind of ruin that trust with guys? You find out she's texting a guy. You find out she said one thing, did another. She keeps things secretive. That's a huge one. When women keep things, you know, women love to like be secretive. You're gonna ruin your trust between you two.
Communication is key. You have to communicate, and words match actions. If she's saying one thing and doing another, then
exactly,
you can't trust her. So you have to, as ladies out there, because again, we're talking about what ladies bring to the table. Because I know in the comments, you're going to be like, oh, what do men bring to the table? No, we're talking about right now, what do ladies bring to the table for men? Make sure your words match your actions. Don't say one thing and do another, because then there's no trust from a man for you. If you're out there also, we see this a lot. We hear this a lot in the YouTube space, in the red pill space. A woman's on Instagram, social media, whichever, even dating sites. I mean, dating sites, you're on dating sites, so you're single, so let's keep that separate. But when you're in a relationship, or you're trying to create a relationship, or you're in the talking stage with the guy, you're on Instagram and you're posting bikini pictures, or you're posting, pictures with not much on.
We just did a video the other day of the ex-NBA player that found out after like being married for 10 plus years that his 52-year-old wife had a secret OnlyFans. The trust is done in that relationship. I promise you that.
He left the house. He's not, as we know right now, he's not staying with her. He's not living with her. So.
One thing ruins the trust for good.
Yeah,
takes years to build, instantly can be ruined.
He instantly breaks, exactly. You can build trust. It takes 1 year, 5 years, 20, 30 years to build. One thing can break that completely. So
absolutely. Let's move on to number 5.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's do that. And number 5 is peace and submissiveness. So I put that together because they go hand in hand. But peace, how do you bring peace to your man when he comes home? You're not complaining. You're not arguing. You're not fighting. You are making his life easier. That's we mentioned before. Make his life easier. Bring peace. Be his backbone. Be his support system. And then submissiveness is letting him take the lead. Follow him along because he's going to guide you to the promised land. What do you have to say about that?
A woman could be attractive. She could respect her man. She could be affectionate. He might trust her. But if she's constantly arguing with him and giving him a hard time over small things, that can cause a problem. So this one's pretty simple, right? Bring peace. That's it. Don't argue. Don't cause problems over small things. And I think this is, the peace part of it is just the icing on the cake.
It's pretty simple. It's pretty simple to do. It's not difficult. Just help him out. And you help him out by not bothering him, by not putting pressure on his back, and being that compliment to him. That's what.
Don't argue. Don't nag. We're sometimes messy. We sometimes forget to put the toilet seat down. Don't give us a hard time over it.
That's it. That's what a man wants. So, guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It's free. We're helping you out. Help us out. And hit the notification button.